Fourth from sixth.
Sir, fourth from sixth house is ninth house.
Ninth from ninth.
Ninth from ninth is seventh house, sir. Sorry, fifth house, sir. Fifth, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
Sixth from fifth.
Sixth from fifth is ninth, sir. Sorry, tenth house. Career, house of career.
From tenth.
Tenth from tenth is seventh house, sir.
Seventh from third.
Seventh from third is ninth house, sir.
Third from sixth.
Third from sixth. Eighth house.
Third from fourth.
The third from fourth is sixth house, sir.
11th from fourth.
Fourth from second house, sir.
11th house of Cancer ascendant.
It would be Taurus, sir.
11th house of Taurus ascendant.
It would be Pisces.
6th house of Pisces.
Leo, sir.
Okay, that was very impressive and very good. Okay, yeah. Good. That if so, these kendras are basically neutralizers. These kendras are neutralizers. So imagine this is a rectifier, or this is a box. This is a magical box, and let's say a big sine wave is or bigger wave is coming here. Okay, and then what this box will do, it will neutralize the wave. So the output is this. This is the input that is coming here, and this is the output. And this box is called Kendra. Very similarly, these are our Kendra houses. They neutralize. These Kendra houses, they neutralize. So, if, listen to me very, very carefully. If a benefic planet lords a Kendra, 1, 4, 7, 10, quadrant, Kendra is quadrant. If a benefic planet lords a Kendra, a quadrant house, then that benefic planet will lose some of its benefic nature. If a malefic planet is lording a quadrant 1, 4, 7, 10, then that malefic planet will lose its malefic nature. Okay, so let's say that if Mars rules the 1, 4, 7, 10, then Mars is losing some of its malefic nature, and if Venus is lording 1, 4, 7, 10, then Venus is losing some of its benefic nature. But we know that it doesn't really matter how much malefic nature Mars or Saturn loses, but at the end of the day, they are natural malefics. At the end of the day, they are natural malefics. So it doesn't really matter. But yes, for that ascendant, they will the malefics, if they are lording Kendras, then they will be less malefic. If the benefic planets are lording the Kendras, they will be less benefic. Now, second rule, 1st, 5th and 9th, the Dharma houses. 1st, 5th and 9th, the Dharma houses are always benefic. 1st, 5th and 9th are always benefics. Now, are always good planets. 3, 6 and 11, 3 Shadaya, because this is the 3 Shadaya. The 3 Shadaya is always malefic. Okay, I think I have, I would like to bring this here. Okay, the 3 Shadaya is always malefic. Do I have it here? No, maybe not. Okay, no problem. The 3 Shadaya is always malefic. 3 Shadaya, 3, 6, 11, 3, 6, 11 are always malefics. Now, we have to also understand that we know that 6th, 8th and 12th house are always bad houses. They are called a Dusthana, bad houses. Du means bad, Sthan means house or place. So they are bad places, bad houses. But to understand functional benefic and malefic traditionally, we'll consider the 2nd house, 8th house and 12th house as Sama. Sama means neutral. Okay, they are neither bad nor good. Their malefic nature or benefic nature varies tremendously. So we'll call them Sama, neutral. Now, with the help of these principles, we'll understand the concept of benefic and functional benefics and functional malefics. So, for Aries ascendant, and this is the list, please take a look. So, I'll keep it right beside it. So, and everybody please make notes. For Aries ascendant, Mars rules the 1st house. 1st house is a Kendra, is a quadrant. 1st house is a quadrant. And as first house is a quadrant, so Mars loses some of its malefic nature. Good. Then first house is also a trine house, is a dharma house, right? Trine, trikon. So then we know that trine houses are always good houses. So then Mars, lording the Kendra, lost its malefic nature, and then also it is ruling a Kendra or a trine, so it becomes a benefic planet. Because it lost its malefic nature, and then it is lording first house. Also, again, first house is Kendra Trikon both. It is so basically first, fifth, and ninth are always benefic. So its benefic qualities are increasing. And then Mars also lords the eighth house. But eighth house is not malefic. Eighth house is Sama or neutral. So for Aries ascendant, Mars becomes a benefic planet. Yes. Now Jupiter. Jupiter lords a ninth house, lords the ninth house, Sagittarius. So ninth house is a good house. First, fifth, and ninth are good houses. And then Jupiter also lost the 12th house. But 12th house is not a bad house as per the functional benefic malefic concept. It's a summer. So for Aries ascendant, Jupiter becomes a extremely good planet. Now, and Jupiter is also by nature functional uh, benefic. Then, what about the moon? So moon, or let's say Mercury. Mercury, so we know that 3 Shaddai are always bad. 3, 6, 11 are always bad. Mercury rules one bad house. Third, Mercury rules another bad house. So Mercury becomes a very malefic planet for Aries ascendant. Okay, very malefic planet for Aries ascendant. But yes, Mercury is by nature a benefic planet. So yeah, it will have, but for Aries ascendant, Mercury dashas are generally not. Okay, because Mercury becomes a malefic planet in the Aries ascendant. Now, Moon. Moon is a benefic planet by nature. And also, guys, remember the planetary enmity. So basically, Mars lords the first house. And so, because these planets has to be friends or enemies with the ascendant to determine how benefic or malefic they are. Jupiter is a friend of Mars. Do you remember the friends group, guys? Do you remember the friends group? I think yes. You guys remember the friends group. So basically, Jupiter is a friend of Mars and then lording 9th and 12th house. So it is a supreme benefic. Mercury is not a friend of Mars. Mercury is not a friend of Mars. So that is why Mercury becomes a malefic planet, supreme malefic planet for Aries ascendant. Now, Moon. Moon is a benefic planet by nature and Moon is a friend of Mars. But in the Aries ascendant, because Moon rules a quadrant house, a Kendra house, Moon will lose some of its benefic nature, and then Moon doesn't rule any other house. So Moon has lost some of its benefic nature for Aries ascendant. But then Moon is a friend of Mars, Aries, right? So that is why Moon becomes a good planet. Overall, it's not bad. I mean, it's good. It's neither too bad. It becomes a good planet because it's a friend of the ascendant. So it's good. Now, Venus. Venus lords the seventh house, a Kendra. So Venus, being a natural benefic planet, will lose some of its benefic nature, and then it is lording the second house. Second house is neither bad nor good, but Venus here lost some of its benefic nature. Now you have to understand, is Venus a friend of the ascendant or an enemy of the ascendant? We know from previous class that Venus is an enemy of Mars. And you see this combination here, Venus lords two Maraka houses, 2 and 7. And it is an enemy of the ascendant. So that is why Venus becomes a bad planet for Aries ascendant. Now, Saturn. Saturn lords one bad house, but then again it lords one good house. I mean, not good house, Kendra. And for because Saturn lords the 10th house, its malefic nature reduced, because if the malefic planets are lording the Kendras 1, 4, 7, 10, then their malefic nature reduces. Malefic nature reduces. And then further, Saturn is lording again one very bad house, 11th house, because 3 Shaddai are always bad houses, 3, 6, 11. That is why. And Saturn is a friend of Mars or enemy? Enemy, dire enemy. So that is why Saturn becomes overall a negative planet for Aries ascendant. Okay. Now similar logic will put for the Taurus ascendant. Okay. Taurus ascendant. Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. Here is Taurus. Taurus. So for Taurus ascendant, Venus. Venus is a benefic planet, but because Venus is lording the first house, which is a Kendra house, Venus is losing some of its benefic nature. But again, first house is also the Trikon house, trines. So that is why Venus again gets the much higher benefic points because it is a Trikon. 159 is always good. But then, hey, Venus is also lording the sixth house. So it is also not that good, right? So, first of all, here was Venus. First of all, when Venus is a good planet, so because it is lording one Kendra, its benefic nature reduces. But then again, hey, it is lording a Kendra, a trine, and trine is a supreme benefic. So that is why its benefic nature again increased, and then again it is lording the sixth house, so then again it is decreased. But then if Venus is friend or enemy of the ascendant, oh, this is the ascendant of Venus, so Venus is ruling the ascendant. So after all, for Taurus, the ascendant lord and sixth lord both are Venus, and by this calculation we get to know that Venus is a, because it is friend of the ascendant, Venus becomes a good planet. But again, it is lording the sixth house, so it will have some of its bad nature. So for Taurus ascendant, Venus is a good planet. Venus can do wonders, but then again, it will have its fair share of sixth house element. Okay, so it is not as good, but it is overall a good planet. So Venus is a good planet for Taurus ascendant. But it's lording the sixth house, which is a Trika house. You know, 50-50. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Okay, Mercury. First of all, Mercury is a friend of Venus. Now, Mercury rules the supreme fifth house. Fifth house is a trine, so Mercury loves the fifth house. I mean, fifth Mercury becomes a benefic, and then Mercury is a natural benefic, rules the fifth house. Wow, what a benefic planet! And then also rules the second house. But second house here is Sama, neutral. So Mercury doesn't have any bad element to it, and Mercury is a friend of Taurus or Venus. So Mercury becomes the best planet for Taurus ascendant. Okay, now Moon. Moon is an enemy of Venus, and it is lording a bad house, third house. So Moon becomes a bad planet for Taurus ascendant. Sun. Sun is by nature a little bit malefic, and because Sun is ruling a Kendra, a quadrant house. That is why Sun becoming a little malefic planet. It is losing its malefic nature. Awesome. But then Sun is a friend of Venus or an enemy of Venus? Sun is an enemy of Venus. That is why Sun is not that of a good planet for Taurus ascendant. Now, Mars. Mars is a malefic planet, but it is lording a Kendra. Now, because Mars is lording a Kendra, it is losing some of its malefic nature, so it becomes kind of neutral. But then again, Mars is lording 12th house, and 12th house is Sama, neutral. But now you have to see that is Mars an enemy of the ascendant or friend? Mars is an enemy of Venus. So that is why, after all, it becomes a malefic planet for Taurus ascendant. And also, it is lording one of the Maraka house and one Dusthana. So it is overall not performing good for Taurus. Now, Jupiter. Jupiter is lording one bad house, very bad house, 11th house, Trika. Because 3, 6, 11 is Trika Bhava, always bad. Trishadaya. Not Trika, Trishadaya. So that is why Jupiter is a bad planet. And then Jupiter is lording the 8th house. Now, 8th house is Sama, but we all know that 8th house is not of a good house. So that is why for Taurus ascendant, Jupiter becomes a bad planet. So we see the pattern that for Aries ascendant, for the ascendant of Mars, Mercury is a very bad planet, right? Mercury is a very bad planet, and for the ascendant of Taurus, or for the ascendant of Venus, Jupiter becomes a bad planet. Now let's talk about Saturn. So Saturn lords one Kendra for Taurus. Saturn being a malefic planet loses some of its malefic planet, Saturn being a natural malefic, loses some of its malefic nature because it's lording a Kendra. So, and then Saturn is also lording a trine, so it becomes a supreme benefic. So that is why for Taurus ascendant, one Kendra, 10th house, and one luck house, 9th house, is lorded by Saturn. So Saturn is lording one Kendra and one trine. And if for an ascendant, a planet is lording one Kendra and one trine, then it becomes Yoga Karaka. What is Yoga Karaka? This one, Yoga Karaka. Yoga Karaka means that planet can fix everything in that person's life when the Dasha comes. That becomes the best planet of that ascendant. I will teach you Badhaka concept later, but right now learn this. So Saturn is the most supreme, best planet for Taurus ascendant. So for Venus's ascendant, Jupiter is a bad planet and Saturn is a good planet. And Mercury is also very helpful planet. But the best is Saturn, the second best can be Mercury. Okay, but Saturn being Saturn, it is by nature malefic. So after all, Mercury becomes the best. But again, Yoga Karaka is Saturn, so Saturn has the most power for Taurus ascendant. Now, did we miss any? We did not. Okay, so let's move on to the Gemini ascendant. Okay, let's move on to the Gemini ascendant. Gem. Okay, my mother, my best friend, everybody, all of them are Gemini ascendants, all of them. So I have been very close in my life with Gemini ascendants. They love to laugh, love to chit chat, lovely people, lovely people, over friendly people. Okay, they laugh a lot and I don't laugh. So basically, so Gemini ascendant, right? So for Gemini ascendant, Mercury rules two Kendras. Now here I will introduce you with a new concept called Kendradi dosha or Kendra Adipati dosha. So basically you can see that for Gemini ascendant, the planet Jupiter is lording two quadrant house, 7th house and 10th house. So Jupiter being a benefic planet, it is lording the 7th house. So it will lose some of its benefic nature. Jupiter is lording the 10th house, another quadrant. So Jupiter, already by lording the 7th house, it lost some of its benefic nature. Then by lording the 10th house, because it is lording a Kendra, some of its benefic nature is then further reduced. So now Jupiter becomes a little bit malefic planet. But Jupiter by nature is a benefic, so don't forget that. So for Gemini ascendant, the planet Jupiter is not very good because it is lording to Kendra. Now it is called Kendra Adipati dosha or Kendradi dosha. Okay, so I like to call it by the full name. Okay, Kendra Adipati dosha. Okay, Kendradi dosha. Oh my God, where is it? Wait. Yeah. So this is called Kendra Adipati dosha. Okay, Kendradhipati dosha. I will not say dosha. It's Kendradipati yoga. Okay, Kendradipati yoga or dosha. It is not a dosha, but then again, many people say, but don't consider it dosha. It's not a dosh. Dosh means fault. It's not a fault. So it is like Kendra Dhipati dosha. Kendra Dhipati. Kendra means quadrant. Adhipati means owner. So Kendra owner yoga or dosha or Kendra owner. Okay, Kendradi. So it's just Kendradipati. Just Kendradipati. Okay, Adhipati means owner. Okay, so Kendradipati or many people say Kendradi dosh. Kendra Adhipati Yoga or Kendra Adhipati Dosha. So that is Jupiter, okay, because it is lording two quadrant houses. Okay. Now, but what about, so is Jupiter a good planet or a bad planet for this Gemini ascendant? Well, it doesn't remain a very good planet. And then you have to understand, is Jupiter a enemy or a friend of Mercury? Because it has lost its benefic nature, right? But then again, the final decider is if it is a friend or enemy of the ascendant. So we all know that Jupiter is an enemy of Mercury. So that is why Jupiter becomes a not so good planet for Gemini ascendant. Now, Mercury is also having the same phenomenon. Mercury is lording, so Mercury is a benefic planet. Mercury is by nature a benefic planet, but by losing, but by lording one kendra, the first house, Mercury lost some of its benefic nature. Then Mercury is again lording the fourth house. Then it further loses some of its benefic nature because fourth house is a kendra. But then first house is a trine, so then Mercury gains some of its good stuff. But Mercury is a friend or enemy of the ascendant. Oh my god, Mercury lords the ascendant. So after all, Mercury becomes a good planet. So for Gemini ascendant, Jupiter is not that of a good planet, but Mercury is a good planet despite having the Kendra dosha. Okay, so but how effectively the Kendra dosha is applicable for the planet Mercury? Well, it is applicable, but because first house is also a trine house, so Mercury doesn't become that bad. It performs less good, but not bad. It performs good because Mercury is a benefic planet by nature. It is lording the ascendant, lording one trine, which is the first house. But because it is lording two kendras, its benefic nature somewhat reduced. Now, Moon. Moon lords the second house, so it's Sama. But then again, Moon is an enemy to the Mercury, so that is why Moon doesn't remain a very good planet for Gemini ascendant. Sun lords one bad house. Sun lords one bad house. And Sun is a little malefic planet, so Sun becomes a little bit malefic planet for Gemini ascendant. But is that always true? Well, we all know that when in astrology we get Sun and Mercury together, it is called Budh Aditya Yoga, and the person becomes very intelligent, especially in the first, second, fourth, fifth, ninth, and 10th house. So that is why Sun from this formula seems like a not so good planet for Gemini ascendant, but in reality you will see that it is not that of a bad planet. So I will not say it is a good planet, but it is not a bad planet. It's somewhat neutral or little malefic. Okay, little malefic. Now, Venus. Venus is a friend of Mercury, and Venus is lording one trine. Wow, supreme benefic. And Venus is lording 1/12th house. So basically, it is Sama, neutral. So Venus becomes a very, very good planet for Gemini ascendant. Mars. Mars lord 3 Shadaya, 2, 2, 3, 1, 6, 1, 1, 11. Both bad houses. And Mars is a very big enemy of Mercury. So Mars becomes the worst planet of Gemini ascendant. So we get to see the pattern that for Mars ascendant, Mercury is the worst planet. For Mercury ascendant, Mars is the worst planet. Right? Then Saturn. Well, Saturn rules one trine. Saturn rules one trine. So because Saturn is ruling one trine, it is a good planet. But then again, it is lording the 8th house. So it is Sama or neutral. So Saturn is a friend of Mercury. So Saturn becomes a very, very good planet for Gemini ascendant. Okay. Now, similarly, we'll go to Cancer ascendant. Cancer. Cancer. So, for Cancer ascendant, Moon is the first lord. Okay. So, Moon being a natural benefic planet, it loses its benefic nature because it is lording one Kendra. But then again, it is lording one, what can I say, trine. So that is why it is again gaining its benefic nature. And Moon is lording the ascendant, so Moon becomes a good planet for this Cancer ascendant. Okay, and then Sun. Sun is a friend of Moon, and Sun is a little malefic planet by nature. But in the Cancer ascendant, Sun is a friend of Moon, and Sun is lording the second house, which is a Sama neutral. So Sun is a kind of neutral or Sama planet for Cancer ascendant. Rest will depend upon the position of the Sun. Now, Mercury. We know that Mercury and Moon, they don't have good relation. They are enemies. So Mercury lords one bad house, third house, right? So Mercury becomes a bad planet. And then 12th house, it is also lording, which is a Sama. So Sama plus bad is bad. So that is why Mercury becomes a bad planet for Cancer ascendant. Venus. Well, Venus lords one bad house. And Venus lords one Kendra. So because Venus lords one Kendra, it loses some of its benefic nature. And then Venus is lording one bad house. Okay, so Venus, after all, doesn't remain a very good planet for Cancer ascendant because Venus is also enemy of Moon. Mars. Mars is losing one kendra, so it is losing some of its benefic nature, so some of its malefic nature. And then Mars is lording fifth house. Wow, it's a benefic. So that is why, and Mars is lording one kendra and one trine. And by formula, it becomes the Yoga Karaka, because the planet that rules one Kendra and one trine, one quadrant and one trine, it becomes the Yoga Karaka. So that is why Mars is the best planet for Cancer ascendant. Now, Jupiter. Jupiter, and Mars is a friend of Moon, so yes, best planet. Now, Jupiter. So we have to remember Jupiter is a friend of Moon. Jupiter lords the ninth house. Wow, what a planet! Ninth house lord, luck, fortune, bhagya. And then Jupiter lords the ninth house, lords the sixth house of enemies, obstacles. And sixth house is a bad planet, bad house. But always remember this formula, that first house, fifth house, and ninth house rulers can never be bad for the ascendant. It is impossible. And because they are friendly to the ascendant, so because Jupiter is a friend or enemy to the moon, Jupiter is a good friend of the moon. So that is why Jupiter becomes a extremely good planet for Cancer ascendant. But because they lord the sixth house, that will give some bad results. But it's overall a good planet for the Lagna, for the Cancer ascendant, because it is friendly to the ascendant. Saturn. Saturn is a bad planet, and then Saturn is an enemy of the moon, and Saturn, by lording the Kendra, loses some of its malefic nature. And then Saturn is also lording a bad house, eighth house. But from the functional benefic and malefic formula, we know that eighth house is sama or neutral. We are not calling it bad as of now. So Saturn and is an enemy of the moon. Okay, so despite you may feel like Saturn is a summer planet, maybe it's not that bad, but because it is enemy of the moon, it doesn't perform that well. So Saturn is a bad planet for Cancer ascendant. Now, Venus, we covered Mercury. So let's go to Leo ascendant. Okay, let's go to our Leo. Where is Leo? Leo. So for Cancer ascendant, Mars becomes the Yoga Karaka, the best planet, right? Remember that. Now, very similarly, for Sun's ascendant also, Mars is losing one Kendra and one trine. So it becomes a supreme benefic planet. So that is why for the ascendant of Sun and Moon, who is the best planet? This guy, Mars. Mars. And also for Mars's ascendants, Sun and Moon are actually not bad planets. They are good planets. Okay. Okay. Now for Leo ascendant, how is Mercury? Mercury is a second lord. So Sama 11th is not good, not good. So by logic, you should tell me that, oh, so then it means that Mercury is not that of a good planet for Leo ascendant. But actually, we by giving you the logic of the Buddha-Chitta Yoga, we know that Sun for Mercury's ascendant and Mercury for Sun's ascendant is actually good. This is an exception. They are actually good. And second house is the house of wealth, assets, and 11th house is the house of wealth. Both our money houses are ruled by Mercury. So actually, Mercury ends up performing very good for Sun's ascendant, for Leo ascendant. So I will not call it a benefic planet. I will call it performs very good, right? Now, Venus and Mercury is an enemy of Sun, or so by logic or by tradition, you can say that Sun is a kind of enemy of Mercury, but that enmity is not that much enmity. Okay, not that much enmity. Okay, not that much enmity. Okay, yeah, not that much enmity. So Sun is very sadhvik, and Mercury is little bit materialistic. So there they have a clash. There they have a clash, but then otherwise not. So that is why whenever Sun and Mercury are together, Mercury's materialism is kind of destroyed by the Sun. So it becomes a Buddha Titya Yoga. The person is very intelligent, they study a lot. So that's how, but it's not really an enemy. Not really an enemy. Okay. So then, but somewhat enmity is there. So then you see that there is this third house, Lord is. So we know that Venus and Sun are enemies. So Venus is the 10th lord, and by losing by lording one Kendra house, Venus loses its benefic nature, and then further Venus lords one bad house, third house, and then again this Venus is actually enemy of the Sun. So Venus becomes a very bad planet or a bad planet for the Leo ascendant. Mars is the Yoga Karaka and Jupiter. So Jupiter lords a trine. Wow, beautiful. Jupiter is a friend of the Sun. Jupiter lords 8, which is a Sama house. So basically, Jupiter becomes the supreme benefic for the Leo ascendant. Saturn. Saturn lords one bad house, right, and the seventh house. So by lording the seventh house, Saturn loses some of its malefic nature, but then again it lords the bad house and it is an enemy of the ascendant. So that is why Saturn is a very, very bad planet. Very, very bad planet for Leo. Now, um, Moon. So Moon is a friend of Sun, but it is lording the 12th house. So is it a good planet or a bad planet? It becomes a Sama or a not so good planet, but again because of it is the friend of the Sun, so it doesn't perform that bad. Okay, but it's not a very nice planet. Now moving on to the our next analytical Virgo. So this is the ascendant of Mercury, and you already know that with the ascendant of Mercury we have Kendra Dosh and we have enemy Mars. So first of all, who is the enemy? The enemy is Mars, because it is the third lord and the eighth lord, enemy of the ascendant. So definitely it is a very bad planet. Then you all know that we have Kendra. So Jupiter is lording one Kendra, two Kendra, right? So Jupiter is not that good. Very similar to Gemini ascendant. And then very similar to Gemini ascendant, the same logic goes for Virgo. That Mercury lords two Kendra, it is lording the ascendant, and it is lording one trine, which is a Kendra. So that is why it is the good planet. So Jupiter for Virgo is a bad planet, or not so cool planet. And then Mercury for Virgo is a good planet. And also why Jupiter is bad? Because Jupiter is an enemy to Virgo or enemy to Mercury. Now, Venus is a friend of Mercury, and Venus is lording one trine. So, you all know 159 lords can never be bad. So, because Venus is lording one trine house, it becomes a very good planet. And then it is lording one Sama, neutral house. And then Venus is a friend of Virgo, friend of Mercury. So, Venus is a very good planet. Now, Saturn. So remember the formula. If a planet is lording a trine 159, it can never be bad for the ascendant. So Saturn is lording fifth house. So it is a good planet, but then it is also lording a bad house. But is it a friend or enemy to the ascendant? It is a friend to the ascendant. Saturn and Mercury are friends. So that is why Saturn is a good planet for Virgo ascendant. But yes, it has sixth lord rulership, so it will give somewhat bad results. Okay, so 50% time Saturn Dasha will give the result of the sixth house also not good, but the rest 50 can be very, very good. But it is an enemy, it is a friend of the ascendant lord, so it is generally good. Now, but yes, the sixth house effects will be felt. Now, Moon lords 3, 6, 11, 3 Shadaya. So it's a malefic planet. Moon is an enemy of Mercury, so it's a bad planet. Now again, the same story goes for Sun and Mercury. Because of the Buddha Titta Yoga, the very beautiful yoga is created. Sun, despite being the 12th lord, it doesn't perform that bad for Mercury, for Virgo ascendant. People get a lot of raise and gains in Sun Dasha as a Virgo ascendant. So yeah, it's not that bad. Okay. So we know that worst planet for Virgo, Mars. So Mars is ascendant, worst planets is Mercury. Mercury is ascendant, worst planets are this Mars. And for Mercury ascendant, Venus is always a mostly good planet. Saturn also becomes good mostly, and Jupiter are not that effective. Okay, Moon is bad for Mercury ascendant. Sun is neutral, good or bad both. Okay, but mainly it does well. Sandasha, Mercury people in Sandasha, they do generally very well. Okay, now then we come to the Libra ascendant. So again a Venusian ascendant. So for Venusian ascendant, obviously Jupiter will be a bad planet. Okay, so basically you see Jupiter is lording 3 Shadaya 1316, supreme bad planet, and Jupiter is the enemy of the ascendant. And then we see that Saturn, obviously very good planet. Saturn lords one Kendra, fourth house, and one trine. So that way Saturn becomes a supremely good planet for Libra ascendant. Any Libra ascendant Saturn Dasha comes, they start progressing like anything. Okay. Then how is Mercury? Mercury is the ninth lord and Mercury is the 12th lord, right? But 12th lord is Sama and ninth lord is supreme benefic. Mercury is a friend to Libra. So that is why Mercury becomes a very, very good planet for Libra ascendant. Now Mars. Mars lords one Kendra, so it loses some of its malefic nature. and then it lords another summer house. So it should be good, but no. Mars rules one Maraka house, two Maraka house, so second and seventh, and it is an enemy of the ascendant. So that is why Mars becomes a Maraka or a bad planet for Libra ascendant. And then we go to Venus. So Venus lords 8th house, which is summer. Venus, by lording the ascendant, because ascendant is a Kendra, it loses its benefic nature. But then again, ascendant is also a trine, so it gains its benefic nature, and Venus is the friend of the ascendant because it lords the ascendant. So then again, further good. So that is why Venus is a good planet for Libra ascendant. But does that mean that they will not feel the 8th house effect? Yes, they will feel. That is why Venus Dasha also Libra ascendant people suffer a little bit because of the Dusthana lordship. So yeah, in the if a planet, despite being a very good planet, functional benefic, because they are lording some 6, 8, 12 Dusthanas, there will be some sort of suffering. Okay, so Venus is ascendant, Saturn Dasha, jackpot, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I will teach you the Badhaka concept later, so you will understand that it is not a bed of roses because God always creates obstacles. Now, Scorpio we discussed yesterday also. So again, guys, Mars is ascendant. So we already know that for Mars is ascendant, the worst planet is going to be Mercury, 8th lord and 11th lord. So 11th lord, 3 Shadaya, 3, 6, 11, enemy of the ascendant, very bad. We already know that for this ascendant, Jupiter is going to be very good because Jupiter is friend of Mars, lording the second house and the fifth house. Fifth house, very good. So Jupiter becomes the supreme benefic for Scorpio. For Scorpio, Mercury is bad. For Scorpio, Venus. Venus is the 12th lord, Sama, but it is also the 7th lord. 7th lord, it loses its benefic nature. Venus is an enemy of the ascendant, so Venus is not a very good planet for Scorpio ascendant. And Scorpio is co-lorded by Ketu, and Venus is the enemy of Ketu, so Venus becomes a very bad planet for Scorpio ascendant. So you see, people in Venus Dasha in Scorpio Lagna, they will be quitting their jobs, giving up, not making progress, becoming lazy. Not good. Now, Sun. Sun is a little malefic, but Sun, by lording a Kendra, loses its malefic nature, and it is a friend to the Lagnesh, Sun, Ketu, and Mars. So Sun becomes overall a very good planet for Scorpio ascendant. Even though by lording one Kendra it should be Sama, but because if it is a friend, it is good. Moon is the 9th lord. Wow, very good planet. It is a friend to the Mars. But remember, Moon is a Badhaka. Moon is a Badhaka for. I'll not come to the Badhaka concept. For now, consider Moon is a good planet for Scorpio. But remember that it is Scorpio is also lorded by Ketu. But Moon is an enemy of Ketu, or Ketu is an enemy of Moon. That is why Moon doesn't perform as well as it should in the Scorpio, or in the Scorpio ascendant. But generally, for now, consider Moon is a good planet. But overall, I'll teach you Badhaka. You'll understand Moon is not that of good planet for Scorpio. Also remember, Moon gets debilitated, but I'll not come to this concept right now. Now you see that what did I miss? Mars. So just like Taurus ascendant, the ascendant and the 6th house are lorded by Mars itself. So Mars, by losing one Kendra, first house, it lost its malefic nature, and it is also a trine. So Mars lost its malefic nature, so it became good, and then it's also so Mars lost its malefic nature, so it became good, and then it is lording a trine because first house is a trine, so it is becoming further good. But then again, it is lording the 6th house, so it is becoming a less of a good something. So somewhere here. But this is also considered good. And Mars is lording the ascendant itself, so it is a friend to the ascendant. That is why Mars can be a good planet. But then again, because Mars is lording the first 6th house, so some negativity will be felt in Mars Dasha. Now, Ketu rules Pisces. We know that somehow Ketu rules somewhat. Ketu rules Pisces, and Ketu also rules the ascendant. So Ketu is a supreme benefic for Scorpio ascendant. Anytime Scorpio ascendant people enter Ketu Dasha, they experience Raja Yoga. Okay, most of them. Obviously, Ketu is, we know Ketu shows bankruptcy and giving up. But then again, Scorpio ascendant people in Ketu Dasha, they do wonderful. Their Venus Dashas are miserable. Did I miss any? No. Okay. So now we'll move on to the Saggy. Sag. So very similar. For Sagittarius ascendant, Mars is a very good planet. So Mars is the fifth lord. Okay, friendly to the ascendant. Mars and Jupiter are friends, and it is also lording the 12th house. So Mars becomes one of the best planets for Sagittarius ascendant. Sun is the ninth lord. Wow, supreme. Sun is a good planet for Sagittarius ascendant. Jupiter. Jupiter is a benefic planet. It is the ascendant lord, so it is already good. So it is lording one Kendra, first house. So it loses some of its benefic nature, but then again it is lording one trine because first house is trine, so it is gaining its benefic nature. But then again, Jupiter is lording one another Kendra, so again it is losing a little bit of benefic nature. So that is why it becomes a Kendradi dosha. Because if a planet lords two Kendra houses, it is called a Kendradipati dosha. Now, what is happening here is because Jupiter is lording the ascendant and it is the first house lord, it can never be malefic for its own ascendant. So that is why Jupiter is a good planet for Sagittarius ascendant. Now, very similar, that Mercury is ruling two Kendras, so it is having Kendra dosha, and Mercury is an enemy to the ascendant. So that is why enemy to Jupiter, Mercury. So that is why Mercury is not a very good planet for Sagittarius ascendant. Now, Venus. So for Venus's ascendant, uh, Jupiter is a bad planet. For Jupiter ascendant, Venus is a bad planet because Venus is lording 6th and 11th house. So very bad planet. Very bad planet. Okay. Very, very bad planet. So, and Saturn. So Saturn is lording one bad house, third house, and one neutral house. And Saturn is enemy to Jupiter. So that is why Saturn becomes a bad planet. Now, Mars we covered. Moon. So Moon lords 8th house, but Moon is a Sama because 8th lord is Sama, and Moon is a friend to the ascendant. Moon and Jupiter are friends. That is why, despite being the 8th lord, Moon doesn't perform as bad as it should for the Sagittarius ascendant. But overall, because it's the 8th lord, Dusthana lord, it doesn't perform very good. Okay, we covered. Then we come to the Capricorn ascendant, my ascendant, my ascendant. So, so for Saturnian ascendant, for Venus's ascendant, Saturn is jackpot. For this Capricorn ascendant, Venus is jackpot. Okay, so Venus is lording one Kendra and one trine, 5th and 10th house. So that is why Venus becomes a Yoga Karaka. So Venus is a supreme, and Venus is a friendly to the ascendant lord. So Venus is a supreme benefic for Capricorn ascendant. Supreme. Mercury. Mercury lords ninth house. So as you know, that first, fifth, and ninth lord can never be bad. Okay, but then again, Mercury is also the sixth lord. Well, it will have some of its bad nature, right? Some of its bad nature. So that is why Mercury is not that of a. I mean, it's because it is also friendly to the ascendant lord. So that is why Mercury becomes a very, very good planet. But hey, it is the sixth lord, and we all know that sixth house is Dosthana. So yes, it will give some bad results. But then again, Mercury is a functional benefic for Capricorn. So Mercury dashas are good for Capricorn ascendant. But yeah, the sixth house effect will be felt. Now, Sun. Sun is a eighth lord, so it's a Sama. But then Sun is a dire enemy of the ascendant lord. So overall, Sun is not that good for Capricorn ascendant. Moon. Moon is a benefic planet. It is lording one Kendra, so it is losing its benefic nature. It is an enemy to the ascendant. So that is why Moon becomes a malefic planet for Capricorn ascendant. Mars. Mars is lording one Kendra, so it is the fourth lord. So it is losing its malefic nature. But then again, it is lording one very bad house. So, you know, so Mars is losing its benefic nature, it is becoming Sama, but then it is more bad because it is lording the 11th house and it is enemy to the ascendant. So it becomes a malefic planet for Capricorn ascendant. Then Jupiter. Um, Third Lord Jupiter. Third house is a bad planet and a bad house, and 12th house is Sama. And you see, both are Dusthana because along with 6, 8, 12, third is also called a Dusthana sometimes. So that is why Jupiter is a very bad planet and it is unfriendly to the ascendant lord, enemy to the ascendant lord. So that is why Jupiter is a bad planet for Capricorn ascendant. Saturn. Saturn. So Saturn is the ascendant lord. Second house is Sama, and Saturn is the ascendant lord. So by lording the ascendant, it becomes a very good planet. It is a friend of the ascendant, and it is Saturn is a natural malefic. By lording a Kendra, it loses its malefic nature. Saturn becomes a supreme benefic, great planet for Capricorn ascendant. Okay, so we understood. Now let's go to Aquarius ascendant. Okay, now again, guys, we are going to the ascendant of Saturn, and I know that for ascendant of Saturn, who is the best planet? Venus. You see, Venus is lording one Kendra and one trine. That is why Venus becomes the best planet and it is friendly to the ascendant lord. But when I will teach Badhaka concept, you will realize that Venus doesn't perform as good as it should in the Aquarius ascendant. But for now, we can consider Venus is the best. Now, for Aquarius ascendant, Saturn is a good planet because Saturn is lording one Kendra, so it is losing its malefic nature, and then it is one trine, so it is gaining its, so it's a good planet, and 12th house is Sama, so that is why Saturn becomes a great planet for Aquarius ascendant. Rahu co-lords this Aquarius, so Rahu becomes a very good planet for Aquarius ascendant. Now, Mars is lording one Kendra, so it's losing some of its malefic nature, and then it is lording another bad house. So after losing some of its malefic nature, because he lords another bad house, third house, it is again gaining the malefic things, and it is an enemy to the ascendant lord. So that is why Mars doesn't perform as well as it should be in the 10th lord for the Aquarius ascendant. It's not a very good planet. Okay. Now, but we know the 10th lords are always good. They give us job, right? Now, Jupiter. So Jupiter is lording one bad house, 11th, and second house, Sama. Jupiter is enemy to Rahu and Saturn, both the ascendant lords. So Jupiter is a bad planet. But wait a second. Common logic. Second lord and 11th lord, money. Money is controlled by Jupiter here. So in theory, it's a malefic planet for Aquarius. But in practicality, we'll see Jupiter can give them a lot of money. But generally, we'll see people kind of suffer in Jupiter Dasha in Aquarius because they are functional malefics because of the 11th lord rulership. Now, many professional astrologers with 20 years experience, they are yet to figure out these simple concepts of functional benefics and malefics. So that is why they will give Jupiter gemstone to Aquarius ascendant people. But we should hardly give, unless it is really important. We can avoid the gemstone of 11th lord unless it is very much required. But then again, I have personally given Pokhraj to Aquarius ascendant people, and I have personally given Green Emerald to Leo ascendant people because second and 11th lord money, money, money. So, Sun is a mild malefic, enemy to the ascendant, and it is by lording a Kendra, it is losing its little malefic nature. But hey, it is an enemy to the ascendant, so it is not a very good planet for Aquarius ascendant. Okay, Moon is an enemy to the ascendant, it is lording a sixth, so it's totally bad planet for Aquarius. Aquarius ascendant people suffered the most in Moon dashas. Mercury is lording one very good house, fifth house, and it is lording one Sama house. So that is why Mercury becomes a benefic planet because it is friendly to the ascendant. It becomes a benefic planet for Aquarius ascendant. Now we are done here. So finally, last one, Pisces ascendant. Pisces ascendant is easy because you already know that Jupiter and Mercury ascendant, they will have Kendradi dosha. They will have Kendradi dosha, right? Because Mercury is ruling two. Mercury is enemy to the ascendant lord. Mercury is ruling fourth and seventh house, so it has Kendradi. Mercury doesn't perform very good. And by that logic, by Sagittarius ascendant logic, we also know that Jupiter is a good planet despite lording two Kendras. So Jupiter is a good planet. Mercury is not a good planet. Saturn. Saturn is lording 12th house, Sama, but one bad house, and it is enemy to the ascendant. So that is why Saturn becomes a bad planet for Pisces ascendant. Mars is lording one trine. Wow, good, friendly to the ascendant, and then one Sama house. So Mars becomes a supreme benefic for Pisces ascendant. Then Sun. Now Sun is the sixth lord. So does it mean that it is very very bad for the Pisces ascendant? Well, no, because so this is the only exception we have. The sixth lord can perform good, and only lording sixth house Sun, but Sun actually doesn't perform that bad in Pisces ascendant because it is friendly to the ascendant. So friendship to the ascendant lord is very important. So yes, Sun is a functional malefic for Pisces ascendant, but despite being functional malefic, Sun doesn't perform as bad as it should in for Pisces ascendant because of the friendship. Moon is the fifth lord, supreme benefic for Pisces ascendant. Venus. For Jupiter ascendant, we all know Venus should be very bad planet. So Venus is the third lord and eighth lord. So Venus is a very bad planet for the Pisces ascendant. Yeah.
अनुभव, मेरे दो क्वेश्चन हैं. एक तो ये कि आपने कहा था गुड प्लस बैड इज इक्वल टू न्यूट्रल, फिर आपने कैप्रिकॉर्न असेंडेंट के लिए मार्स को सुप्रीम मेलेफिक क्यों बताया?
Because it is enemy to the ascendant lord.
बस यही रीजन है वैसे.
Yeah, it is not.
वैसे न्यूट्रल होता नहीं तो.
It become neutral by lording the Kendra, but then again it is lording 11th house, which is bad. So it becomes bad, and then again it is enemy to the ascendant lord. So it becomes a supreme bad planet.
ओके, थैंक यू. और सेकंड क्वेश्चन मेरा है कि लियो असेंडेंट में जो उसका असेंडेंट लॉर्ड है वो सन होता है, और आपने आज एक और चीज बताई, आपने आज बताया सिग्निफिकेटर्स. तो सिग्निफिकेटर भी सन होता है, बट अगर उसका प्लेसमेंट 12 है सन का, तो हम कैसे देखेंगे सन अच्छा?
We are not talking about placement of planets. We all know that Sun in the 12th house is undesirable. So it will eventually give bad results.
Yes,
but we are talking about if Sun is a good planet or a bad planet for Leo ascendant. Sun is a good planet for Leo.
मतलब सन की ही नहीं, मैं सभी चीजों की बात करूं कि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि सिग्निफिकेटर और लॉर्ड तो अच्छा है लेकिन वो प्लेसमेंट खराब है, तो वो आगे पढ़ेंगे हम.
Then it will fail to deliver good results, obviously. But we are learning about functional benefics and malefics.
So it is applicable for Dasha system.
Thank you.
Yeah, mostly the functional benefics and malefics are used for dasha itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Himshottari Mahadasha. Pallavi Maiti.
Yes, sir. You mentioned like suppose it's a bad planet, like for example, maybe for Scorpio ascendant, Venus is a bad planet, and you said during Venus Mahadasha they'll have a very bad time, like they'll have and what about if that Dasha is not going? Other times also Venus will always act as a bad planet.
No. So let's say that for Scorpio ascendant, Venus is exalted in the fifth. So that's a wonderful Venus, but the dasha is not good.
Okay, so this bad planetary whatever you explained,
dasha.
It only so it works only during dashas, like
only during dashas and many other things also.
Okay, sir. And I had one more question for Gemini ascendant. I think you said Saturn is a very very good planet.
Yes.
Is that I'm not? You said very very good. So like I think Capricorn will be in 8th house and Aquarius will be in 9th house, right? So because 8th house it's bad, so it becomes neutral.
No. 8th house is sama.
It becomes okay. It's already
we are learning functional benefic and functional malefic concept.
Okay, so
we have to stick to the concept. We have to stick to the concept. There are many concepts. Yeah.
Okay, and then there it's neutral, and in 9th house obviously it will the bad thing will go little bit.
No, not bad thing. That happens in the Kendra. In the Kendra, the malefic planet will lose its malefic nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it will lose its
but 9th house is always benefic. 159 always benefic. So Saturn by lording the 8th house is a sama, and by lording the 9th house is a very good, and it is a friendly to the ascendant lord Mercury.
So that becomes very very good.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shivam.
Hello, Anubhav.
Hi. Follow.
तो अगर कोई प्लैनेट जैसे कि सैटर्न हो गया, सैटर्न जुपिटर का एनिमी है, और क्या कहते हैं उसको, मून का भी एनिमी है, तो अगर वो एस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं दोनों को, तो क्या उनके ऊपर मेलेफिक इफेक्ट पड़ेगा?
We are not learning about aspects or placements. We are learning about functional malefic and functional benefic.
So if it is a functional malefic, then
we are not learning about aspects or placements. We are learning about functional benefic and functional malefic. I will not divert
ওকে ওকে
চন্দ্রভানু দা বলো।
The thing is, tell me something. I mean, again, I'm just being curious. Are the concepts of these planetary friendships or enmity largely derived from these, functional benefics and malefics, and how they're placed?
Yeah, so basically,
The houses that they lord.
Basically, there are two friend groups like Sun, Jupiter, Mars, Ketu. They are friends.
Yeah.
Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Mars, they are friends, and then Rahu, Venus, Saturn, Mercury.
Mercury.
They are kind of friends. Okay,
Yeah.
and these two groups hate each other.
Yeah. That I understand. You taught that in the last class. What I'm trying to understand is, is that concept based on their placement?
So the functional benefic and malefic nature is largely based on the friendships, and because you can see that for
Exactly.
Pisces ascendant, Sun is the sixth lord. So Sun is the punisher. Like sixth lord is deaths, diseases, punishment, right? But despite it is lording the sixth house, Sun is a friend to the ascendant lord, so it is not that harmful.
So basically, barring one or two exceptions, in Bengali, what I would say is, হিসেবটা দিব্যি মিলে গেল.
Yes. LHS equals to RHS.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, but today what I taught is functional benefic or functional malefic.
Yeah.
If someone asks you, is Venus is a functional benefic or a malefic for Pisces ascendant? You say it is a functional malefic. Is Sun a functional malefic or a benefic ascendant planet for Pisces ascendant? You say Sun is a functional malefic planet for Pisces ascendant, but because it is a friend of Jupiter, it is less harmful. Khushbu.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. Khushbu Goli.
Sir, I read it somewhere that Moon and Sun lording the 8th house, they doesn't possess the dosha of lording the 8th house. Is it so? Like Ashtamesh dosh nahi lagta.
So there is no such thing called Ashtamesh dosh. It might be from some tradition, because there are many traditions and big families of Jyotisha who have created their own rules. Okay, but it is not mentioned in the classics, so I will not comment.
Okay, sir, one more thing. We'll cover ascendants to all the houses in details. What we have done in this assignment.
Yeah. Because that is going to be very difficult concept.
Yes.
That is because in that concept I will involve Argala, Drishti, this and that, and it's going to be crazy. Yeah.
Yes, sir. While doing the assignments now, while making the assignments, sir, it was difficult to understand the concept of this apoklema, panafra, how to apply them. It was little difficult, so that is why I asked you.
But watch those videos 1 or 2 times, you will get it. Watch those videos.
Okay, right. Thank you.
I mean, they're easy, but it becomes easy. Your mind needs a little bit maturity. Okay, Mamta.
सर कैंसर वालों के लिए यानी वीनस मैलेफिक है फिर?
Yeah, functional.
एंड ओके, तो और जैसे जुपिटर है तो 9th का भी लॉर्ड है एंड 6th का भी, तो फिर मतलब हम इसे बेनिफिक ही लेंगे?
It's a benefic लेंगे. We'll call it benefic because it's friendly to the ascendant lord.
Okay,
and first, fifth and ninth lord can never be bad.
Okay, और सन जो है वो भी बेनिफिक या मैलेफिक रहेगा फिर?
Sun is like second lord Sama, and it is friendly to the ascendant, so it performs cool, good.
Okay, thank you sir.
Akshvi.
सर हमने राहु केतु कवर क्यों नहीं करे?
Rahu Ketu is easy. You do the homework.
Okay.
Yeah. So for Pisces ascendant, Ketu is the 9th lord, very good, and Rahu is the 12th lord, not so good, and Rahu is an enemy to Jupiter, so not so good, and Ketu is a friend to Jupiter, so Ketu is a good plan for Pisces. Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up, Akshvi. So the next homework for everybody is Rahu Ketu for all ascendants, benefic or malefic. That's it. 5 minutes work. Okay, Vivek, you want to ask?
Yes, sir. Sir, for Sagittarius ascendant, despite being the friend of the ascendant lord, can we say that moon will be death inflicting?
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because I am teaching you on the functional benefic and malefic, but we all know 6 and 12 lords are not good, right? So yeah.
सर मतलब कितनी खराब बात है ना कि जुपिटर इतना अच्छा फ्रेंड है सन मून का, लेकिन उसके दोनों असेंडेंट के लिए एक सन खराब बन रहा है.
Jupiter is not that of a good friend because Moon stole the wife of Jupiter, and then and then Mercury is the bastard son of Moon and Tara was the wife of Jupiter. So there is an
सर ये नहीं पता था मेरे को.
yeah. So Moon impregnated the wife of Jupiter, Tara, and the bastard son of Jupiter is Mercury. That is why Jupiter hates Mercury.
All right. And sir, Sun and Jupiter तो काफी अच्छे friends हैं ना आपस में, अगर Moon को हटा दे तो?
Yeah, I mean Jupiter and Moon are also great friends. Sun, Jupiter, Sun, Moon. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So hey guys, I hope you liked the session, and it was power packed session. Okay, please practice it, and you guys will have to watch this video again and again. And the assignment was this: gathering all the information about the functional benefic and malefics. This is how you derive functional benefic and malefics, which is a huge concept, and many professional astrologers, they are also not able to tell which is a functional benefic and why. So finally, after this class, you are getting to understand that why people call it functional benefic or malefic traditionally. Okay, bye, take care. Tomorrow 7:30 p.m.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good night. Good night, sir.